Good morning, traders. So we still using the Bill Williams theory and looking at the looking at the DAX on the weekly time frame. So a couple of things. Firstly, we've got this downward trend line. We haven't really come to it. We have the weekly 200 EMA coming up, which is this purple line. I'm just going to put this level in here. Okay, and then the last thing that we have here is there's the previous high and there's the current high, which basically puts us in a rather large diversion. Okay, and remember, this kind of divergence is continuation of the trend. So the trend is currently to the downside. So that's kind of what we're looking at the moment. So initially, a couple of weeks ago, I was expecting us to test this break and then move to the downside. Now, so rule of thumb is still pretty simple. I'm going to put this in here. This is my stop level, which is 11575, and this middle line here is a pretty interesting one, specifically for a short entry. Okay, so let's just get to the daily and have a look what we've got there. So we've headed up with one of two things. It's either a potential double top that's forming, or we're looking for a second move. Now, let's first look for the second move, which is pretty much going to be this here. Okay, which basically brings us all the way back up to this gap close. Okay, so second move up to there, and then that brings us into a zone which I think you can probably expect some kind of a short coming out of that. Let's delete that. Okay, so trend is still up, so let's not try to bluff ourselves and look for a top right now. The trend is up, so we are above the alligator. We're staying above the alligator. We can see how we use the alligator as support here for a couple of days before railing up again. Okay, awesome oscillator above the zero, trend is up, momentum is to the upside. So that's pretty much the direction we need to play in. Maybe not from the level up here where we are, but we'll see on the lower time frames whether that's doable or not. I'd like to see us sort of come back to test this breakout here. Okay, so ideally I'm looking for 11,140 for another long entry. Okay, my take profit areas are very much going to be up at 11,473 first area, and the next one is 11,575. Those are the areas that I'll be looking for shorts. Okay, so let's get down to the hour and just see what we're supposed to be doing here. So we had this rounding bottom here. So if I pretty much draw these lines in like this, you'll see it's a rounding bottom. Okay, rounding bottom. And then we broke above the midpoint here, well, the high point here, which would have been the neckline. So this was fairly significant because you had support, and you had resistance, and then we've broken through. That's why I'd like to see us come back, because that is an area where you would expect some kind of a pullback to. Okay, we do have a gap here from Friday. So whether we get there or not is another story. But if we look at the 1 hour oscillator here, you'll notice that we are very much oversold, which basically puts us in a small little channel to the downside. And it's amazing how the DAX loves forming channels. And wherever you are, you see here's a channel here, here's a channel, flag. So channels and flags is just something that the DAX loves. Anyway, so we have this little channel here. I'm just going to go down one more to the half hour just to see if I can see anything else. Okay, so let's just get rid of the noise and let's look here. So this is an area for a long. There is something happening here, but I need to look to the left to see, and there is my previous swing high. So there are two swing highs here, one where price is, which is here, and there's my previous one there. So that is the area that I'm looking for price to turn around in. Okay, if we get below this, then there are pretty much a few levels to downside. That's the one, and that's the other one, and this one I would just tidy up right up until there. Okay, so downside is pretty much 11,211 and 11,163. Yeah, but I do suspect that the zone that we're in or we're resting on at the moment is the one that we need to watch for. That's the one where there is a potential opportunity for another long. And I'll just take it from here rather than be conservative. And that would be my measured move. Something like that. And up to there. And let's just get that there. Okay, which basically closes that top gap. Right, but in saying that, guys, just bear in mind that we're coming up to the end of the month. So the month bar here is a piercing pattern at the moment. It's not complete, but it's definitely something we need to pay attention to. And that is our actual target area up there, which is 11,723, 11,728. Okay. So if we go back to our 1 hour and just see where that lines up. I don't think it's going to line up with the gap here. It's completely way further higher than the gap is. Okay, but that's a monthly target, so sort of a long-term target we can focus on. Okay, so that's kind of my play for today. Pretty simple, short and sweet. I'm looking for a long. I'd like to see something off there. Okay, so somewhere between 11,147 and 11,220. That's my area for a long. And then I'm looking for that top gap to close, which is pretty much right up there. That gap up there. Okay, so risk to reward here is pretty interesting because technically your stop should be below one of these levels here. But I think once we are going, and once we pull the base, you can run with a 50-point stop loss without too much stress. Okay, things to worry about are the gap to the downside. So just wait for price action. Wait for a decent pin bar or inside bar or engulfing pattern before you get in. Okay, so I can't really give you a level where to get in. You're going to have to watch price action for this, but watch these levels here. Draw them in and just see what price is doing at those levels. If you start doing something like this with pin bars or something like this, where it's consolidating like that on a level, it's a good option to get in with a stop right, well, about, let's say 5 points below the lowest point of the tail. Okay, that's kind of what I would be looking for. I suppose another way of doing this is waiting for a break above this area here. So if you get a half hour close above 11,171, take a stab at the long with a stop below 11,255. Okay, that's kind of my play of it, but I'm hoping to get down to these levels before I get in. Okay, so guys, that's it for me today. Sorry, before we go, let's just make sure what's happening on the US markets, well, all over. Okay, everything is pretty flat at the moment, and it's typical for a Monday, so you're going to have to wait for Europe open to see what happens here. Anyway, guys, that's it for me. Hope it helps, and I'll catch you later. Cheers for now.